Good morning. It's March 28th. It's almost noon. This is my white oak bow that was a living tree, was a log cut down maybe 5 days now ago, and I shaped it up and I steamed it to pull the cambium off for an hour and 15 minutes. After the steam tube's filled and making noise, then you set the timer for an hour and 15 minutes. Has to be an hour and 15 minutes, and then the cambium peels off like a banana. I shaped it and fire hardened it, put buffalo horn tips on it. I just cut string grooves in it. We're going to tiller it today. Okay. I noticed it had a crack in it. At the end of the day, I noticed it had a crack in it, and I just filled it up with AE40, and just for a little structure. I've done that before with a hornbeam bow just to be safe. Filled it up, and probably what happened with the last bow, it was like a safety precaution. After I tilled it, it was gone. So this will probably disappear, this little crack, because look how thick the white oak is. The white oak is pretty thick. Now, the one thing I'll tell you is, if you're making a white oak or a red oak self bow, leave the limbs thicker. And the reason you leave the limbs thicker is because it flexes a lot more thicker. If like a little thin hickory bow will flex as much as this thick oak bow. So just to give you a heads up, we're going to go put it on the tillering tree behind me, and we're going to micro tiller it with a yardstick, and we're going to see if we can make a bow out of this. From the bottom of the string groove, we put a mark for 1 inch. That'll be one of the tillering marks. Did that on both sides. From the bottom mark, we went down to the fade out. Okay, put a mark, measured it the same on the other side. Then we measured from that 1 inch mark to the midpoint, and we put a line on the midpoint, and those are where we'll gauge the bend. We'll put the yardstick from the outer 1 inch to the fade out, and the midpoint will be used for measuring distance of the bend. Okay, we have this, you can see the little bit of back set from fire hardening. And we're going to pull this down till it's just about level and a little tiny bit more, just a tiny bit more. Okay, now we're going to check with the yardstick and see how the bend looks from the bottom of this fade out mark to the end here. Okay, we can see we got a little bit of a bend going on here. We can see a dip right away. You can see a dip. I wish you could see this. We can see a little dip right here. Here's the dip. Let's go over here and check it out. Okay, you can see a space here, a tiny space, and there is no space here. So this here, we have to remove material. So we mark it up good, and we have to remove material. The idea is to, as we're removing weight, and we're going to stay at this, where this happens to be 13 and a half, where it's the mark. And it's just a mark, a reference point. It's not a draw length or anything. It's just a reference point. So we can go back to the same spot every time. And the idea is to take a little material off and make an even bend, so the pressure of the limbs flexing is even throughout the bow, and it's not stressing one part or the other. So we're going to stop it here and remove material. If you were tillering this by hand, you would look at the pencil marks, go to the center of the pencil mark with some 60 grit sandpaper. Start in the middle, go back and forth, and work your way out to the edges. You may have to do that several times, and then put it back on and check it out. Okay, that side there had hardly any space, so I knew how to remove a bunch of material, and I did. Let's see what we got. Make sure I can see this mark here. Make sure your pencil marks are clear so you know where to put the end of the ruler, the yardstick. Okay, look, we do have, I don't know if you can see it or not. It's rough. Let me put this here. Okay, we're starting to get some space here. Remember, we had no space. And it's very easy to see some flat spots here. Okay, and then once we take some of this off this flat spot area, we're going to do several strokes to lighten the limit a little, get a little more bend. Let's see what we got over here. Okay, over here we had to remove a little bit of weight, and you can see it's still flat here, right? So from here, right, to here, to the end, we still have to remove a little more material. I only went down 1 inch just so I could clearly see a bend. Let's see how it looks over here. I removed a lot of material. And look, we're coming around. It's coming around. We're starting to get a bend, but yet you could see the flat spots, right? You can see a flat spot here. Okay? Flat spot right there. Okay? And if you notice, there's a little bit of an uptake there. A little curvature of the grain. And that's okay. We're just tillering with the yardstick. We're not following nothing but the yardstick. So we removed some material here, and we got what we're looking for, a perfect bend from here to here. There's a slight bit we could take off here. I'll take just a couple of strokes off this end. Now this is really tedious and you got to go back and forth, but once you get these even, you'd be surprised. You're able to go down an inch, a couple inches. Once you get it even, it'll really flex. It shows you how well this tillering method looks. Now if you look back, you can't see anything wrong. You say, wow, it's got a nice bend. You just start and it's got a nice bend, right? But once you throw that yardstick up, you see all the flat spots and imperfections. And that's what we want to take care of. We just started the tillering process, right? And I told you I put the AE40 in there just for a little structure. Well, we sanded the crack out already. It's gone. But it's a good safety precaution to fill it up and then remove the material after. I kind of knew it would disappear, but I wanted structure. I don't want any weak spots while I'm tillering, and that epoxy fills in that little crack so I don't have to worry about it spreading, and chances are you'll sand it off. I sanded it off. This is like the fifth time we're coming up here checking it, and it's gone. Okay, we remove material. Let's see, you put the numbers behind you so it's not a distraction. You just want to look at a straight edge. Okay? And look at that. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting a nice bend. Now, I would say now a little here. Okay, and a little on the end here. Okay, let's check this out over here. Okay, I removed a little bit on this end so we could see, and we see we got like a nice mirror image going on here. So this is good. We're just going to remove a little bit from over here and then come back and check it. And we'll be able to pull it down a little bit more. So once again, a little bit on the end, okay, and a little flat spot here. Just for the sake of the video time, so you're not too bored, you understand the process. I went back and forth 4 times removing very little bit. Now you have to, white oak and red oak, if you're doing white oak or red oak, they sand really quickly. So you have to be careful. Take your time, go back. And we have a nice bend going on here, okay? Nice bend going on here. Let's check over here. And we got a nice bend going on here. So we're going to go down another inch. And we're going to check. And we're going to go down until something jumps out at us. Okay, got a nice bend still. We got a nice bend still. So taking that time, micro tillering, we're going to go down one more inch. Distributes the stress of the limbs evenly. Nice bend going on still, right? Nice bend going on still. Go down a little more. We got still got a nice bend going on still. See the bend, the mirror image. Let's check this out over here. We got a nice bend, the mirror image going on. I'm gonna go down one more inch and we're gonna measure the distance. See how far we came down once we got it bending even? We took a little time at the beginning and we know that the stress is equal throughout the whole limb. Okay, we got a roughly an inch and a 16th. Let's see what we got over here. This is the first time we're measuring the distance. We got an inch and an eighth. Nope. We got an inch and 3/16. So this one's bending 2/16 more than there. So we're going to take some material off even overall. And how you do that is mark the entire limb, sand it off until it disappears, mark it again, do it, and we'll come back and check them again. And we're right now, we went down to 18 and a half. Just these marks are just a reference point. And the idea is we have a loose string, and at some point we want to go down to where we could put a brace height on, a string and a brace height, and we got a ways to go yet. But not too much. I mean, we don't have too far to go because it's bending even. Now we're going to get them even at this 18 and a half inch mark. Okay, we're at the 18 and a half inch mark again. We removed some material overall. Let's see what we got here. And check both limbs, because you change one, the other one changes too. Okay, we got that inch and a 16th. So we took off material, so let's see. All right, it balanced out a little bit. We have an inch and a quarter. We have to take a little bit more off, but we're getting there. A little more material off. Remember, if you have to take material off one limb, you still check both limbs. It affects the other limb. An inch and an eighth. An inch and an eighth. We're going to go down a little bit more. I'm going to see how the weight feels when I pull it down a little bit more. Feels good. Check it out. We're almost at the point where we can put a string on it. Remember, put the numbers away. It's not distraction. Put the numbers behind. Okay, we got a nice, beautiful, even bend, and that's what we want, a nice, beautiful, even bend. We want the pressure of the limbs distributed equal along the whole length of the limb. And that's a smart thing to do as far as, bending a wooden bow, getting it even. And we got a nice, even mirror image on both sides. We got it nice. And let's see. This would be right here, the top of the 5.5-inch mark would be for a string. So we still got to go down a bit. Let's go down a little bit more. There's absolutely nothing that jumps out. It's a beautiful bend, right? Still got that beautiful bend going on. So, but I want to check out the weight. I'm not even sure what weight I want. I don't think I'm going to hunt with the oak bow. So then again, I'm kind of looking at that 35-pound bow, 37-pound bow, because I don't think I'm going to hunt with this. I have 2 bows that I take in the woods hunting, and I think this is more or less like 3D bow, which is my favorite, is kind of like around 35, 37. So we're at, if I pull the scale down, it has to be in the middle of this 19.5. So let's see what weight we got in the middle of that 19.5 mark. Here we go. We got 33 pounds. So we're going to go down a little more before we remove material. Okay, what are we at here? We're at 21.5. Let's just check it out. Do a good check. I'm going to check the bend, check the measurement. We're at 1.5 inches, okay? 1.5 inches. We're at that 1.5 inch mark. It's unbelievable. It's great. So before we put a string on, we got to go down. We got to go down like 3 more inches. So like I said, this is going to be a bow that's going to be around 35 pounds. So as even and beautiful as we have this, it's probably around 35 pounds now. We don't even have a string on it. I'm going to remove even strokes on both sides and then recheck it again. It's just a process that you go through, but look how beautiful, right? So if we take even strokes off, or if you're doing it by hand and you put pencil marks and sand off the pencil marks repeatedly, like 4 or 5 times each limb, it should be fairly close. I mean, minute adjustments. So let's take off some material and hopefully we'll lower the weight and be able to get a string on shortly. I took off 18 strokes off each limb, rechecked it. This one was bending about 1/8 of an inch more, so I took a few more strokes off of that one. Let's see how it is. An inch and 5/8. An inch and 5/8. see if we can get a string on this yet. I'm going to find the string and put it on. Get back to you. I found the string, and now is the time that I round the edges. I have 120 grit. I want the string to slide nice on the tips. I'm only doing the sides and the belly. The belly is the part that faces your bow. Your belly faces your belly. Belly faces your belly. And here we are. I'm going to hit the edge. Just the edge of the back of the bow. White oak sands very easy when it comes to tillering or rounding the edges. And now what I'm going to do is that I rounded the edges nice before I put the string on. I'm going to recheck my marks and reintroduce my marks on the bow. Then I'll put a string on. As I went to put the string on, this was higher, the point of the horn that I put on. And the string would catch. And you want a nice smooth transition so it don't catch. So I had this light file, and let's see if you can see it. I'm kind of carefully just riding the file, the half round file along the edge of the horn tip. I don't want to take wood off really as much as I want to take off a little bit of the point. And I don't want to use sandpaper. I want to use something rigid so I don't go into the wood and I can keep it on the point. All right, let's see. Let's see what kind of brace I get. Let's see if I can do it. See how it catches? It catches. It's still caught. Didn't want to go up. Have a little more work to do on that point so it don't catch. Be back in a minute. I have this very fine chainsaw file, and what I did was I kind of ran it along the edge on both edges. And I believe it's smooth now. Let's see if it works. And it worked. Okay, we had a smooth transition. Let's see what kind of brace height we have. I'll shut this. Well, I had it strung. I looked down the bow. The string always favors one side more than the other. And the other end was the top, and the tip was fine. I had that one smooth perfectly. So they're both smooth perfectly. And you can see, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the spring does favor one side. Let me see here. So the string favors one side, and what I found out was the other limb would be the top, what I believe. You know, when that changes, pulling it back, I could feel it. So this all say is the top for now. And what we're going to do is measure and see how the limbs are bending with the string on. We have a 5 3/4 inch brace height. It's 6 5/8. It's 7. It's 6. It's 5 1/4. This limb needs to bend a lot more. So we're going to remove some material on this. And when we do, we're going to shorten the string up a little bit, but we got to remove some material on this side here. And once we get it even from the measurements, from the fade outs to the midpoint, Then we'll put it on the tillering jig and continue checking the bend and the weight. Sometimes you get lucky. I took off about 18 strokes off that one limb. And then I rechecked it. And I got 7.5 at the fade outs, even. At the midpoint, I got 6 1/8. 6 1/8 on the midpoint, so everything's even. We got it even. I pulled it back a few times. We're going to call this the this top limb over here. Let me see how it feels. Yeah, that's going to be the top limb, and we're going to check it. And I have a feeling this is going to be it. This is going to be it. This is going to be the pounds I want, the bend I want. I have a feeling this is going to be good. Okay, I put this up on the tillering stick, and I pulled down to a 15-inch draw, and I saw a tiny bit of a flat spot. And I marked in between the flat spot was, and I removed some material, and to even out the other limb, I took a couple of strokes off. So we're going to check it now and see what it looks like. Let's see. Seven and a quarter, 7 1/4, 6, 6. Okay, we're going to put it up and put it on that 15-inch draw length, the actual draw length, 15-inch, and we're going to see what that ruler looks like now. Okay, we have a fairly nice bend. It was a little flat here. Now we have a little bit bend going on, a little better bend. It's kind of a dance back and forth to get the limbs to bend, have a nice bend, and yet get everything even. Okay, this has a nice big clear bend. Let's check over here. Stand back and look. We got a nice big clear bend here. Oh, nice clear bend. And let's see what weight we get as we pull it down. Okay, we're at 0. And I only have a 26.5-inch draw. And where I have to go with the riser is the top of this, is the bottom of this 22. Okay, so I got to go to the bottom of that 22 line. Let's see what we got. £35.7 pounds. 35.7 pounds. I'm going to pull it down quick just to look at it, see what it is, what it looks like real quick. Don't want to leave it like this. Looking good. Looking good. We're done. Done, 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 done. Let's check out the profile. See if you can see the profile. I'll put this camera back a little bit so we can see. Okay, let's see how it looks. Looking good, I think. Looking good. I'm going to cut a handle in here and we're going to go shoot this. So here's the center mark. You put your middle finger in the center mark and wrap your hand around, and you need a little space. See, here's the center mark. My middle finger is on it. You see you need a little space here. See the space? And then you put an X with a hacksaw. And you cut down to the line you draw for where you want the shelf to be cut out. Okay, for the sight window shelf to be cut out. And on the back, you see this one has to go down a little bit more. You want to make sure they're even. So I figured I'd show you a couple more strokes on this, and then you could use a chisel to chisel it out. You could use a saw to saw it out. Whatever you do, be careful. But when you're cutting this with the hacksaw, like when you're sanding material off for tillering or whatever, the oak is not like any of the other woods. It's not like hickory or it's not like locust. It's soft. It comes off like butter, so you got to be careful. So now that we have a shelf rough cut in here, what I do is I have a round rat tail, right? Round in a square hole, okay? What we're going to do is I'm going to just bring this up a little bit here. I'm going to square this out a little bit with the rat tail by moving it up like this here and doing the same here. Let me see if I can show you. See, I'm going across to get it down, and then I'm going to bring it down, and then I'll show the other file I have. I have a half round file. So I just want to show you, as strange as it sounds, this round rat tail. I come down probably like the thickness of an arrow down, and I'm using a rat tail just to go down, and I'm carefully watching the lines. And I look in the back, and once I get down to the depth I want, then I sort of swing it around like this. And I'll show you. I'm going to turn it around. Turn it around so it's facing you. And then I'll show you close up what I'm doing. Sounds crazy, but it works. So you see, I have it coming down a little, like it goes in and comes down a little bit. You see in the front, see it comes in. It's all rough. But look, you're able to get the arrow in and not have a wedge, a pinch, and the arrow's way out. You're able to get the arrow closer to the riser. Now, this is where you use this half round, nice fine file that I got here, and you're able to transition by turning it up like this into here. Okay, now this is going to take a while, and I'll show you when I'm done. So you see where where I put my grip, finger in the middle, wrap it around. That's how I took my measurements. I'm going to hit this on the belt sander so it curves in, and there'll be a depression in the back where my hand will go in. Okay, we're going to work on that now. I'm going to start on the side here quick. I know it's annoying, but I'm just going, the sound, but I'm just going to show you. I got to come up just a little higher here. And then the other thing I want to show you is where your thumb goes here. When you hold the grip, right? And you look, your thumb goes down, see? Put 2 lines down. And I'm going to transition this curve to the side. So let me just do that quick, just so you have an idea what I'm doing. Now, wherever you feel like these edges are rough around your hand, you want to round the edges here. Okay, you round around the back here a little bit. I'll finish this up and I'll show you. There is actually a video I have on shaping a riser grip. You'll have to look for it. Might as well just show you one more thing too. On the back here where my hand is, I want these rounded. And what I'll do is sorry about that. What I do is I'll hold it this way. I want it wider on the bottom, so I'll just watch. Okay, so look, you see now it's getting rounded. Okay, so I'm doing a lot of the rough work on this. You could do all of this by hand, okay? Um, and it's feeling pretty good. I'm going to work on it a little bit, and then we're going to go shoot it. All right. And before I finish it, stain it, whatever I'm going to do with it, I'm going to give it a good sanding. I'm also going to taper the ramps, so to speak, the fade outs, okay, a little bit. Okay, just a couple of things. This is my fire hardened white oak bow. And we use, everybody uses white oak for firewood. So when you're cutting your firewood, you find a nice straight log, cut it about 6 feet, or depending on your draw length, if you got a real long draw, cut it a little longer. Put it on the side and make a bow out of it. You can make a bow out of just about anything. The last shoot, I shot my sassafras bow, a lightweight bow, and it was a lot of fun. I don't care. Well, actually, that was 2 shoots ago. Last shoot, I shot a lightweight green recurve, hickory recurve I made, but I shot that sassafras bow, very light bow, and it shoots great. People say, oh, you can't make a bow out of sassafras. Well, you can't make a really high performance bow, but you can make a nice bow out of it, all right? So here we are. One thing I wanted to mention was a lot of times you'll have a hump. You see, on this side, you don't see it. On this side, you see it. Trust the yardstick for bending. Trust the yardstick. Don't look at the hump and say, I got to take material off. Trust the yardstick and the measurements that you put on. Again, that was Keith Shannon, who I spoke to. I had the honor of speaking to. Came up with that tillering, yardstick tillering method, which works great. And I encourage you to go out to Shannon Outdoors and buy his fire hardening DVD. And look what I'm doing. He changed everything for me because I'm not getting ripped off anymore. I'm making bows out of firewood that I fire hardened, all right, from his fire hardening video. So here we are. We're going to shoot it for the first time. I have some little 800 spine arrows. This is a 35-pound bow, and of course it's not finished. I just want to see where it impacts, and then I have some 700 spine entradas. We're going to see where they hit. So that bear is roughly about 15 yards. Let me just move over a little bit here. Okay. So you can watch me draw. You try to be a shooting machine, touch your anchor, keep your bow hand up on target after you release. I'm going to put the point like on the belly of that bear and see what happens. Wow, pretty good. I would say that was right there. Now, I have 700 spine entradas too. And I'm thinking that these thicker 700, not thicker, these more of a spine, they are a little thicker, but these 700 spine entradas for this white oak bow, which doesn't, it shoots great. You can take deer with it, everything, but it just don't have the performance of some of the hickory. I have a feeling it's going to go to the left, be a little stiff. But let's see. No, not too bad, actually. Not too bad. I'm loving the bow. I mean, come on, it's a. I think I'm going to name this Firewood. Okay, this is Firewood. So let's take another shot. I think I can get away with either one of these arrows. All right, now we're going to shoot 20 yards at that deer. I'm going to move it over a little bit just so you can see better. And I think this will tell what spine is the best. And I'm going to try and, I put the point on the belly on both of them. I'm going to put the point right on that deer and see if it hits low or how it hits. Okay, a little left. Let's try the littler arrows. Let's try these 800 spine. I think that should move it, the 800 should move it over. Let's see. It moved it over right there. What do you think of that? Firewood, white oak, right? Beautiful. I got to take one more before I shut off the video. That was point on. So I guess I could go a little higher than the point on. I could go like top of the 10 ring. Oh, I went too high that time. But left to right is really good. That deserves one more shot. 800s of the winner. Okay, shot high again. I aimed a little high still. Let's go take a look, just for the heck of it. The very first shot with any self bow, I don't expect to be perfect because you always got in the back of your head that, oh, will it break? All right, so this is it. That's the one. Here's the 700s. That's basically where I was aiming. That was the second shot. Okay, we're at 20 yards. This one I put high and it hit high. Okay, look at the arrows touching. And this one went to the left, meaning it's stiff. Okay, so that's it. This is my white oak bow. Going to be named Firewood. And thanks for watching. You know, check out Keith Shannon. He has like Tillering 1,000-year-old bow with the yardstick. You know, had the honor of talking to him like twice for a couple hours on the phone. And the fire hardening video, I suggest you go there and buy it and look. Right, firewood made into a bow, a nice, really nice shooting bow. Just remember, when you make red oak or white oak, to make the limbs a little thicker than you normally would with like hickory or black locust or whatever, because this is a 35-pound bow and the other woods would have thinner limbs. So start out with at least 5/8 thickness to, at least on the oaks. Thanks for watching. Every day you wake up is a great day. Get out, shoot. Get a piece of firewood. Make a bow. Thanks for watching.